Welcome to the regular council meeting of Tuesday, April 15th, 2025 at 4:42 p.m. in council chambers and via Zoom. We acknowledge that the town of Kirkland Lake is located on the traditional and unceded territory of Indigenous peoples. We recognize the presence of these Indigenous people in our community since time immemorial and honor their stewardship and care of these lands. We hereby affirm our commitment and responsibility to reconciliation. Item number 1, call to order in a moment of silence. Item number 2, approval of the agenda. May I have a mover? Councillor Owen, seconded by Councillor Ranger.
So be it resolved that the agenda for the regular meeting of council held on Tuesday, April 15th, 2025 be approved as amended to defer items 8.1, 8.2, and 8.3 to the regular meeting of council being held Tuesday, May 6th, 2025.
All in favor? Opposed? None noted. Item carried unanimous. Item number 3, declaration of pecuniary interest. None noted. Item number 4, petitions and delegations. There are none this evening. Item number 5, acceptance of minutes and recommendations. 5.1, council minutes. May I have a mover? Councillor Kiley, seconded by Councillor Shaba.
Be it resolved that council approve the minutes of the following meetings: minutes of the special meeting of council held March 27th, 2025, and minutes of the regular meeting of council held April 1st, 2025.
All in favor? Opposed? None noted. Item carried unanimous. Item number 6, reports of municipal officers and communications. Item number 6.1, proposed town of Kirkland Lake cultural plan roadmap. Kim Clockers, Director of Community Services, and Tammy Carruthers, Principal and CEO WSCS Consultings, will be presenting. May I have a mover? Councillor Ranger, seconded by Councillor Owens. And Deputy Clerk, can we read the motion?
Be it resolved that report number 2025-COM-002 entitled Proposed Town of Kirkland Lake Cultural Plan Roadmap be received, and that council hereby adopt and direct administration to implement the Town of Kirkland Lake Cultural Plan Roadmap presented. And finally, that administration present an update on implementation of the cultural plan roadmap in Q3 of 2026.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, Clockers, you may begin. Thank you.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, through you to council. I'm pleased to present the proposed cultural plan roadmap tonight, which is a framework that will guide the development of a cultural plan in Kirkland Lake. This initiative was prompted by council's decision last year to divest from the Museum of Northern History, a move aligned with the corporate strategic plan, and a recommendation from WSCS back in 2021 when they were asked to do a service delivery review for the town of Kirkland Lake. WSCS was initially engaged to support our efforts in revitalizing culture and delivering cultural services without the Museum of Northern History. The original scope of their work was to reboot cultural services in a unique way through the concept of hubs throughout Kirkland Lake. WSCS conducted extensive community engagement to help form a former vision of cultural hubs, which included a kickoff meeting on May 30th, a visit to Kirkland Lake for some site visits and stakeholder interviews from July 22nd to the 24th, and virtual meetings into the fall. Consultations included town staff, council members, community organizations, community groups, and the Museum Advisory Committee. It wasn't until November 2024 that changed the course of what WSCS was developing when community members formed a nonprofit organization called OPHAT to take over the museum and the services offered, and they were ultimately assigned stewardship of the collection. Although the initial interviews conducted by WSCS took place when the museum's collection was slated for deaccession, the transition of museum services did not diminish the value of those engagement sessions. Instead, they offered valuable insights into the broader cultural landscape in Kirkland Lake, enabling WSCS to develop a roadmap, which you see tonight. I'll now hand it over to Tammy, who joins us virtually from WSCS Consulting Inc.
Great. Thank you very much, Ms. Clopper and your worship. Thanks for the opportunity. I understand that you have a copy of the plan, recommended plan, attached to your meeting agenda. I will just highlight a couple of things, if I may. in terms of the plan. As Ms. Clocker's mentioned, that our focus kind of changed while we were engaged. And so hopefully you can see the plan up there. I can't always tell what I'm showing in Zoom, so. So this really is a plan to move culture forward. You're in a state of change, and of course the museum changed the focus of culture to some degree in Kirkland Lake, and now you've got some opportunities to engage the community and move towards a cultural strategy. In the short time that we had, developing a full strategy was not feasible, but we believe that this plan will provide the steps towards that. I will move forward to really just to, I think it's page 10. Most of the beginning part is background information. So I can get there. So and so our recommendation to be able to develop an overarching strategy that includes all of your community stakeholders, I guess it would be page 11, is first piece is to start to integrate your economic development, tourism activities together with a lead in terms of a marketing coordinator. So there's obviously no division between culture and economic development and tourism. They all kind of work together. So in an organization of your size, it makes sense that that sort of would oversee that. One of the big things we did here during the consultations was there was a need to bring the organizations together through sort of a one-stop shop. And you know, the town is only one piece of a cultural plan. And so, but obviously, you know, a lot of these non-for-profit organizations do not have the capacity to sort of take on large endeavors such as that. So by doing that, that position could serve to assist with your economic and tourism plan that you passed in the fall. In terms of the steps, once that person is engaged and hired, to launch an engagement campaign. So we did do a fair amount in terms of consultation, but there are other stakeholders across the town that would be very valuable in terms of developing that overarching strategy. So the very first piece is really to launch that campaign and get everybody engaged and excited about an integrated approach to culture strategies. Then to the municipal piece of the cultural plan would come out of that. So really, it's about taking the strategies and putting detailed work plan together. And so that should be drafted and obviously circulated and feedback received both from council and the stakeholders. We do think that one of the things that would help to get people engaged is to try to put together a cultural summit. So when we say that, bringing together like the multicultural groups and every other organization that contributes to culture as much as possible to build out what those strategies would look like for culture for Kirkland Lake. And so this would solidify the key priorities. You are small, so you know, in terms of, but you got big culture. So you do need to sort of identify priorities so that and everybody's going in the right direction together. From that, obviously through a feedback and a final plan, and then a process of launching that that strategy. So in the roadmap, we use the concept of creating the right environment. That's your logo. and your mantra. So, and really here is about an integrated cultural vision to thrive. And so that's the first piece of the roadmap, which is really what we're trying to jump onto here, and then communicate that vision across the whole town and all of your stakeholders, and really marketing that brand. And one of the things that the town is not, like I said, is not the only piece. They don't need to be doing all the work. What we do need to be able to do is to connect all of the cultural contributors together and leverage their skill sets, which you have a lot, and a lot of passionate people. So serving as that connection is really important, and we believe that that's part of the recommendation in terms of that key person at the town. And then to cultivate the vision through partnerships. So really having it so that it's part of everything you do will help that cultivation. The next four pieces sort of break down some of those pieces. As I mentioned, having a coordinator, creating an awareness of a community of practice about what culture really is, because culture means different things to different people and different groups. So giving an understanding. One of the things that would be a fairly quick win, and again, you know, is something that certainly the town can assist with, is developing self-service online calendars. If you look at some of the municipalities across Canada, some of them are very well done. And so that's something that would be a very quick win. And really, it doesn't have to be managed and all of the work done by the town if it's a sort of a self-service. So people can put all of their community and culture and tourism events in one place. Another piece is around understanding the inventory. So there was quite a bit of work that was done, you know, in terms of from the museum perspective, but you have a lot of other cultural spaces across the town. And so where are they? What could they be used for this strategy? And include that in that database, and then really working to finalize that strategy. Communication. Of course, this marketing coordinator would have a big piece about that. But also, I think there's some opportunity to connect with the surrounding municipalities that are serviced very well by Kirkland Lake Services. So it's not just in the town. You have a lot of contributors that are outside, and allowing that to build that gap analysis. Where are things? Where are you missing things that would build your culture? So are there areas that in terms of business services that are not in place to collaborate? And so we heard about some of those things that are already happening, where some of your organizations are reaching outside of the town to get those services. And so being able to sort of matchmake would be great. We talked about the integration and, of course, the feedback. So that's really about the communication. The connection is about partnerships, and both within the community, but also all of your local organizations. Some of those already exist, and some are already very active. But you know, maybe bringing them together on a regular annual event might continue to build those things, and looking at those collaborative projects will build that collaboration. And obviously, economic development has a lot to play in terms of cultural development. And then finally, just continuing and cultivating the vision through that strategic plan. One of the things that we did hear a lot about is being able to get access grants. It is time consuming, and a lot of nonprofits don't have the capacity or maybe even the skill set to put that together. So having an online sort of assistance and portal to help these different organizations find opportunities for funding, and then and really policy advocation and capacity building. We do think that, having an annual report that probably brings both economic development, tourism, and cultural work together would be good to promote all the great things that are actually happening and will continue to happen in the town. And I think so basically the next steps are to, as Ms. Clocker mentioned, is for town staff to take this on and develop a detailed plan. And we think that you're in a good position now to be able to do that with your various plans that you've been putting in place, your economic development plan as well, to develop that integrated plan. So I'm more than willing to take questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that report. Anything to add?
Basically just that this plan is going to be, taken on by, two departments. So, economic development or, development and enterprise services, under the new position that will be, promoted, soon. And hopefully we find a wonderful candidate along with the supervisor of community programs for community, services.
Yes, excellent. Thank you. Before opening the floor to questions and comments, I just wanted to note two things. That self-service online calendar, I hear it from many community groups. We feel at times that the community is siloed and that there isn't a one-stop shop of finding out what's going on in our community. So that's something that has been requested time and time again. So I'm glad it came through in the report. The second item was, I was really saddened to see stakeholders not feeling that members of council attend or promote community events. I know that most of the members sitting at this table are prolific volunteers within the community and true advocates for events. And we're all kind of different parts of our community. So the only way I believe, to combat that is we have these handy dandy name tags that identify us as council members. Perhaps when we're attending events, even on a personal level, we can self-identify as council members because we can't take for granted that people just know us by our faces. I truly am guilty myself. I do not wear the chain of office at public events. I don't like to draw attention to myself, but moving forward, starting with an event on Thursday at the Chamber of Commerce, you will see me wearing my chain of office in the community because we do really want to make those stakeholders feel that we are supporting and we are around, because I know the members at this table are around in different facets of our community. And I think it's important. Thank you for bringing that out in that report. So thank you for that. That being said, members of council, any comments or questions? None noted. Thank you very much for your presentation and all your hard work. Thank
Thank
you.
you so much.
Councillor Shabbat?
Yeah, sorry, I have a question.
Yes.
Sorry.
Hopefully I can answer it.
Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah, thank you very much, truly, Madam Chair, so I was just trying to write my questions down, and then I almost missed the boat. This is a very good thing to have for today. I just want to know, I see some of the people that you guys spoke to. I mean, we have a lot of Francophone members in our community with very vibrant culture and all of that stuff. And if you go to New Lisco once in a while in the summertime, they have a big festival and all that attracts people. I forgot what the name is. And when I was in Sudbury too, the same thing. La Nuit de la Tombe, we used to attend a very, very robust French cultural events. So I mean, I like reaching out to other places, means reaching out to the members of our community. And then let's not forget that we have a very robust Indigenous brothers and sisters among us too. And then we all attend the powwow and whatnot. So to me, that will be part and parcel of the culture of our community. So we have to bring all those things together. So when I look at the consultation here, maybe it's an oversight or whatnot. I don't know if those other people are ever consulted, but nonetheless, those are some of the things we could have to have a good blend of what makes us Kirkland Lake. And those are just two of them, probably others that I'm not aware of, but we should really try to reach out to our community to see what kind of activities that will bring everybody together, because your definition of culture may be different from my definition of culture, but I want to make sure that we don't miss anyone. Thank you very much.
Thank you for that, Councillor Shabbat. Anything further from members? Okay, all in favor? Opposed? None noted. Item carried unanimous. Thank you. Item number 6.2, verbal update, 2025 Good Road Conference, Alan Smith, CAO.
Madam Mayor, to members of council. First, I'll ask Director Fortin to also come forward as he will add to my presentation. Good Roads Conference was held from March 30th to April the 2nd at the Royal York Hotel. The conference was considerably different from previous ones, as our delegations were not accepted by the Minister of Infrastructure due to the recent formation of government that put them with schedules out of whack. Minister Struma actually declined all delegation requests. It was also very different too, because even if you would delegate, you could always have the opportunity to mingle with various ministers. That was not possible this time, so it was a good change. Therefore, given this change of not being able to delegate, Mayor White offered her seat at the table at the conference to Director Fortin, as there were a number of seminars that would benefit Mr. Fortin. Some are very technical, and I think it'd be public works to find them exciting. So Stefan was eager to participate. One thing that was of interest I did pick up on was the Good Roads organization is currently looking to provide loans to municipalities for infrastructure. So they're developing a program. So we're going to keep an eye on that. So that was very useful to hear. Also, I picked up a number of very similar trends within some of the seminars regarding the construction industry. The construction productivity is declining. Labor shortages already exist. And also 20% of the workforce will be retiring in 10 years. And we do see that within our own municipal local government, the difficulty we have in retaining and obviously attracting new people. And that gets harder with retirements in the near future. So I will ask Stefan to add to the presentation to give his insight into the conference that we attended.
Good evening, Madam Mayor and Council. Attending the Good Roads Conference was a new and valuable experience for me, and I'm grateful for the opportunity to have gone with the CAO. Severe winter conditions limited my attendance, but I was still able to take in several information sessions and part of the trade show. One major topic was the ongoing tariff wars, which continues to drive up material costs and impacts project feasibility for the municipality and other municipalities. Road safety was another key theme. There was Wes Marshall, a leading expert in urban planning, emphasized the need for safer, people-focused road design, highlighting how current practices still prioritize speed over safety. I also attended a session on the minimum maintenance standards, which may see updates soon. These standards are vital in guiding road maintenance and managing municipal liability. Though geared towards larger cities, the winter maintenance session offered useful insight into current best practices in snow and ice removal. At the trade show, there was one product that stood out from CIF Composites Incorporated. It's a prefabricated culvert head walls made from lightweight composite materials. These offer a modern alternative to traditional concrete head walls, and we're looking to possibly utilize this new technology in Kirkland Lake. In closing, despite the shortened trip, I left with valuable insights into the industry's issues and innovations that can support our infrastructure and road safety goals. Thank you.
Thank you. I certainly appreciate that you took my spot. I can honestly say that Good Roads is well above my technical abilities as far as roads go. The only thing that I retained from attending last year was we should be washing under the bridges when we do maintenance. So honestly and truly, my input isn't all that valuable. So I do appreciate that you were able to go in my stead. Is there any questions or comments from members of council? Councillor Owen?
Through you, your worship. And this is just from my own ignorant standpoint. You were talking head walls, is that the cement? Well, that goes around the culvert and up to the road, is that what you were referring to? Okay,
Yes,
thank you.
yes.
Anything further from member? Yeah,
Yeah.
Councillor Shabba?
Yeah, to you, Madam Chair, to the Director, thank you for your presentation. I'm just wondering, at this Ontario Good Roads Association, back in the days when they were founded, they were pretty much ahead in terms of disseminating contemporary technology in road design, especially in asphalt design. As you know, northern roads are horrible in terms of asphalt, because over the years, I mean, driving home today now, you can see a lot of potholes. You know, roads will quickly develop. So the sort of technology that we have now is much more suited for Southern Ontario, where they don't have profound weather problems like we do. So are there anything on their part to at least help us in the north to come up with a new technology, asphalt technology, that will suit our environment? That way we don't have to go through ripping all the asphalt up every five years, or because of rot and all of that stuff. Do you, any session or anything of that may be of help? Because that would be something that I would be interested in, to see what that new technology would be, because that will probably reduce your stress too, especially this time of year when everybody driving around and calling, yeah.
Through Madam Mayor, Councillor Shabba. I didn't see any sessions in regards to asphalt, but there may have been during that I was absent at the sessions. But that being said, I know that the Ministry of Transportation is always working towards improving their asphalt content, their EC. In the past, well, for my career, in the past 20 years, they've been working a lot on the super paved designs. And the issue that we're having up here in a smaller community is that we're a little bit at the mercy of the asphalt plant. So if they're producing for an MTO job, for example, that has a specific asphalt content, we don't ask the plant to change that mix design. We go with the mix design that they're currently batching. So we're a little bit at the mercy. Asking the plant to change the AC would be astronomically expensive for us. So we're, like I said, we're a little bit limited as of the choices of asphalt that we can order.
Thank you for that. Anything further from members of council? May I have a mover? Councillor Shabba, seconded by Councillor Owen. Madam Deputy Clerk, you can read the motion.
Be it resolved that the verbal report entitled 2025 Good Roads Conference be received for information.
All in favor? Opposed? None noted. Item carried unanimous. Thank you, sir. Item number 6.3, supplemental 2025 final town budget update. It will be presented by Treasurer Lloyd Crocker. May I have a mover? Councillor Ranger, seconded by Councillor Kylie.
Be it resolved that report number 2025-4-013 entitled Supplemental 2025 Final Town Budget Update be received for information, and that council for the corporation of town of Kirkland Lake hereby approve the 2025 budget as presented. And finally, that the corresponding bylaws relating to the 2025 town budget be presented for 3 readings on May 6, 2025.
Thank you. Mr. Crocker, you may proceed. Thank you.
Mayor to council. So right off the start, you'll see there was a change, an amendment to the agenda and the deferral of the 3 bylaws. That's entirely driven by me trying to get Optus sign off on the actual final tax rates, ratios, and numbers that go into those 3 bylaws. The budget bylaw itself will not change. It is exactly what we discussed in the last council meeting with the amendments that you all requested and suggested. So the budget figures that you're seeing there are exactly as you guys tentatively approved in the last meeting. Overall, we talked about that difference between the budget increase and the residential rate increase, and you'll see it, it's in my report right there, 6.5 versus 8.4. Driven mostly by the banded industrial rate that we have in our system, where we have industrial taxpayers, ratepayers above 2.5 million pay a different rate than ratepayers below 2.5 million. The ratio that was put into place in 2017 is no longer acceptable to the province, and for that reason, they cap any increase within that group, with the industrial group. They cap, they say you can only put 50% of everybody else's increase. Only 50% of it can be used in the industrial class, and the other 50% gets added to the residential class. And that's the primary driver of why one rate is lower than the other. As I mentioned last time, I have every plan in the next couple of months to identify somebody who can help me find a way to fix that. My guess is that that's not going to be a one-time type of fix. It's going to take a few years of fixing some of those ratios that are outside of what the municipal act allows now. They're leftover ratios from before. There was no caps previously. So now that they're in place, we have to fix that, and I'm suspecting it'll take more than just a simple 1-year fix. But you'll get a report later this year. I'm not entirely sure yet when, talking about what our approach will be to fix something like that. It clearly kind of creates a disconnect between our budget and our residential tax rate, so. For the most part, the changes that you see are exactly what we discussed at the last meeting, and I'd be very happy to, I just want to reiterate that those bylaws are delayed because when we enter those things into the Optus system, we're asking for them to take a look at the work that we did, me in particular, not we, the work that I did, and we haven't been able to get their confirmation yet that the numbers that were in the bylaws are perfect according to their calculations. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions or comments from members of council? Councillor Owens.
Through you, Madam Mayor, I'm not sure if this question's for the treasurer or more the CAO. I wasn't totally paying attention when we passed the agenda, when we removed the 3 bylaws, and by the time I got to them, my hand was already up, so it was too late. Does this affect our ability to start putting RFPs out, and does it delay us by 3 weeks, or can we still move forward with all the projects and the RFPs?
To the council, it does not affect our ability.
So RFPs can all go out tomorrow morning regardless of this being, if they are ready.
Yes.
Yeah, sounds good. Oh, follow up.
Yep.
Do we want the explanation about Northeastern Public Health billing creativity at this part of the meeting or through the councilor's report?
Madam Mayor, at your decision, we received the billing today or late yesterday, I guess. So we now know what the THU budget, not THU, the new.
NEPH, I remember that one as well.
Thank you. The new health units billing it's an increase of 4% from last year's billing. So, we've already kind of planned for that possibility by the change in the drawdown in the reserves in our previous meeting. They didn't provide any information other than the billing amount and how much per capita it was based on. So, that's all they're publicly telling us at this point.
Thank you for including that. We'll allow follow-up comments and reports to council.
Reports to council, sounds good.
Thank you. Anything further from members of council? Nothing noted. All in favor? Opposed? Item carried unanimous. Thank you, sir. Item number 7, considerations of notice of motion. 7.1, moved by Councillor Lad Shava, seconded by Dolly Dykens. This is the Chappius Streets renaming request received from Mr. G. Hamden. Lad, would you like to speak on the matter before it's read, or do you want it read first?
Right first.
Thank you. Madam Deputy Clerk?
Whereas a request for street renaming of one of Chappie Hughes streets and or avenues to Hamden Avenue or Hamden Street in honor of the Hamden family was received from Mr. Gordon Hamden by council. And whereas the Hamden family has deep roots in the area. And whereas the town's naming policy, Corp 2020-016, welcomes the opportunity to name physical facilities, buildings, rooms, parks, etc., and other items to honor the distinguished contributions of individuals or organizations. And whereas the town's naming policy applies to the naming of buildings or substantial parts of buildings, wings, rooms, etc., parks, roads, playing fields, beaches, and trails or trail systems. And whereas renaming of current streets and or avenues may infringe on historical aspects of said streets and or avenues. And whereas the request is specific to naming a street in Chappie Hughes, and whereas there are no new streets and unnamed streets in Chappie Hughes. Now therefore be it resolved that council direct administration to acknowledge receipt of Mr. Gordon Hamden's request and further indicate that the request will be under consideration once new streets are available to be named in Chappie Hughes. And finally, that a copy of this motion be sent to Mr. Gordon Hamden.
Thank you for that. Go ahead, Councilor Chapman.
Yeah, to you, Madam Chair, this request came to council from, I believe, Mr. Gordon. And we were asked by the clerk at the time, if anyone's interested to advance a motion. Towards it, and that's just what we have here. So this motion will serve two purposes. One of them is to acknowledge the receipt of that request. And then number two would be to consider that request if opportunities ever arise in future. And I know, I mean, a lot of our streets, some of them I don't know the meaning behind the names, but they probably have a very rich history behind those names. The only one that I know, and I've been a Chappie citizen for 40 years, is Archer Drive, because I know Archers were selling milk at the time on Water Lane. So I don't know the others, but again, there are people that will know the others, so we can be swapping old names for new names. That's something that we shouldn't be doing. And also, we don't have new streets. So hopefully, as the town, as we grow in future, that opportunity will present itself. That way, we can accommodate this request, another request of prominent people that make our community a very good place to live in the past. Those requests will be considered too. So I ask my colleagues around the table to support this motion. Thank you.
Councilor Dykens as seconder.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Yeah, to support Councilor Shava, we thought it was important to acknowledge receipt of his request, but also to learn about the naming policies. And if we did rename a street, it would cause a whole bunch of issues. There's historical significance, but also people have to change their address and so on. So yes, if we could just say we would consider his request if there is a road in the future.
Thank you. Any further comments or questions from council on this motion? All in favor? Opposed? None noted. Item carried unanimous. Thank you for that. At this time, I'm going to ask Acting Mayor Casey Owens to take the chair.
Item 7.3 has been withdrawn, so we're going to 7.4. Mayor, I scrolled down too quickly. Item 7.2. Mayor Stacy, you want the motion read first? Or?
Yes, please. Thank you.
Okay, moved by Mayor Stacy White, seconded by Councilor Rick Owen. Whereas during reports from council section of council meeting agendas, the mayor and members of council currently bring recognition to members and groups within the community who, as a result of their actions and achievement, bring great pride to not only themselves, but to the community as a whole. And whereas the corporation of the town of Kirkland Lake recognizes there are several businesses and volunteer-driven awards for the contributions to the community. And whereas formal recognition by the corporation of the town of Kirkland Lake of individual and group accomplishment would build community connection with the municipality, share community pride, and encourage others to strive for their own achievement. And whereas municipalities across the province have formalized systems for recognition of such achievements, contributions, and outstanding actions with documented guidelines and requirements. And whereas currently the corporation of the town of Kirkland Lake lacks a formal method of celebrating such achievements, Now therefore be it resolved that council direct the chief administrative officer to investigate other municipal programs to determine best practices. And finally, that the town of Kirkland Lake develop a formalized system to officially recognize members of Kirkland Lake who contribute to the pride of our community through their actions, contributions, or achievements.
Thank you for that, Mayor White, want to speak to this?
Thank you. Through you, Acting Mayor Owens. So this is really not something that's uncommon throughout the province of Ontario. Many other municipalities do give civic awards to their community members. We don't have an official pathway to getting recognition to our community members. At this time, we do give out certificates by request for birthdays and anniversaries, but it would be really lovely to give documentation to the members of this community that bring such pride to KL with an official acknowledgement. So by moving this motion, not only do we commit this term of council to recognizing community members, hopefully it's going to live on for decades after we no longer keep these seats. Thank you.
Councillor Owen, as the secretary.
Yes, through you, Acting Mayor. I agree completely with the mayor on this. Right off the top of my head, I can think of two geologists that changed the whole prosperity and direction of the Kirkland Lake camp. I can think of a prospector who has promoted the heritage of this community beyond any reason, beyond what anybody would expect, along with his partner. So many people I can think of, and they've just done it for the good of the community. Or they've done it because they're professionally sharp and they found what they had to find. So having a way for the town council to officially recognize that, I think is important. Sometimes I forget when I'm on council, I say, oh, it's just council, right? But it's not to the person getting the award, it's the whole community saying to that person, hey, we appreciate you, you did something really special. And trust me, seniors that have been here all their lives and never been recognized, despite the fact they may, play it down, it really means something. And I think it's important for Kirkland Lake to follow this direction. And I thank the mayor for bringing this motion.
Thank you. Any questions or comments from council? Councillor Ranger?
To you, acting chair, to our honorable mayor, just for clarification, could this not be in partnership with the chamber, or is this something that because they do have their annual recognition, is that what we may be looking at here?
Yes, so through you, Acting Mayor, in response to Councillor Ranger and all of council. So yes, definitely, there are many municipalities that do award ceremonies during the yearly gala of their Chamber of Commerce. So this isn't something that we have to do ourselves, but we can if need be. However, per the motion, this is just to give CAO direction to investigate best practices. So definitely that would be one of the avenues to investigate. Thank you.
Thank you. Any more questions or comments?
Yeah.
Councillor.
Yeah, through you, acting chair, to the mayor. I believe that you indicated that this would probably be something that would complement what we already have in CJPL Citizen of the Year, right? This is totally different from that. And I'm not too sure what the frequency of this will be. Maybe weekly, yearly, so I need to see how the format will set up. But again, it is nice for people to know that this is really not a competition. And then we are shaped to the CJPL Citizen of the Year. I'll let you speak to that.
Yes, absolutely. So as per the through you, sorry, acting mayor, definitely this isn't meant to replace any of the existing awards that are out within the community. It is, we've often at this table, myself and fellow members of council acknowledge the hard work and dedication and actions that brought Kirkland Lake pride of even former members of the Kirkland Lake community. So this is just And I'm not sure. Will it be so widespread and so popular that we'd have to do it every month? That would be lovely if we were able to acknowledge a person a month. But again, within this, it's giving the CAO direction just to investigate what the best practices are, whether it should be, you know, yearly, whether it could be monthly. That will come back in a report, I'm sure. So thank you for that.
Thank you. Any more questions? All in favor? Carried. Now, item 7.3 has been withdrawn, so we go to 7.4. Mayor Stacy White, public meeting waste management service level.
Moved by Mayor Stacy White, seconded by Councilor Rick Owen. Whereas council received a report from administration on March 18th, 2025 surrounding the request for proposal for the new waste collection contract. And whereas council accepted the recommendations from administration as outlined in the report with the following amendments: commercial waste pickup to be reduced to 1 day per week and not on Mondays. 2, residential waste pickup be changed to every other week. 3, the director solicit in the RFP option 1, weekly pickup costing for residential waste, and option 2, every other week pickup for costing for residential waste. And 4, as part of the RFP, an investigation on costing for overflow garbage for residential waste. And whereas council find waste collection service levels compelling to the public's interest and desire ratepayers to weigh in on its potential changes in the community, therefore be it resolved that council direct that a public meeting on the proposed waste collection service level change be scheduled for Tuesday, May 20th, 2025 at 4:40 p.m.
Mayor White.
Thank you, acting mayor. As per the motion, it was a large sweeping change that we made through bylaw. And it is exciting changes that will have financial consequences, positive financial consequences, we do hope. But I do think it's pertinent that members of the community have the opportunity to engage with us and discuss those changes and let us know how they feel. So that's all the motion is tonight.
Councilor Owen.
Yeah, through you, acting mayor, at the time when this came to council, I wasn't thinking of the impact on individuals. And it's very important, I think, when we make it, because what's up for consideration, what I would consider a major change in service level for individual households. And I think it's important to take that to the public, to get their feedback. I want to emphasize that right now, all we're doing is looking at it. We have not made a decision as of this point. We're investigating what the costs are gonna be, what the environmental impact and all the rest of it's gonna be. So that's why I seconded it, and I think it's one of the few times where the change in service is of such extent that the public should be invited. Thank you.
Councilor Baker.
Acting Chair, my recollection's a little bit different. I thought we did, vote to, go to commercial once a week and residential every other week. I support the public input, but that was my recollection that we were, not that it was just, we were looking into it.
Yeah, well,
Councilor Ranger had her hand up first, then.
To acting mayor, to council, two points. We're only looking at doing our RFP or request for 10 or contracts on these, and until we get the financial changes or the potential financial savings, I don't see how we would want to bring this to the public, because we don't have that information to provide them with what our options are moving forward with either our current or new provider when it comes to waste disposal. So I'm not sure, I wasn't at last council's meeting, but I would be all in favor of getting feedback from the public, but I feel like they're missing a big piece that could determine where people feel that they would fall when it comes to the potential changes for pickup, whether it's weekly or bi-weekly. My other comment or concern is, has there been any consultation with our current Waste Disposal to see what options or suggestions they may have as far as where they see savings could be. We're not workers or experienced in these fields. I'm not, and I'd be curious to see what they can provide to us that we may not have already considered and could bring to the public when we make this decision on the community's behalf. Thank you.
Before, I think just to come back to Councillor Dyken's comment or question, I believe we did vote on a level, service change level, so that is passed and that is moving forward.
Yeah.
What was coming back was the 1 weekly or bi-weekly garbage pickup for residential. I think that's.
Yeah.
where you want to see. Do you want to speak?
Yeah. I shall ask, Director for the St. John's to come forward, just in case there's any questions. My understanding was the RFP will have 2 options to answer. The director will then gather that information. Plus, the information that was gathered from the public meeting can be looked at as a wholesome overview. And then presented to council with recommendations. That was my understanding.
You've said that.
Councillor Owen?
Yeah, when I spoke earlier, I should have made it clear that, when I was speaking, I was referring to the residential pickup. Because the commercial pickup, we made a decision on, and we came in line with, what, most municipalities in Ontario have. In fact, some don't pick up commercial, waste at all. So what we've gone from offering two times a week down to 1 time a week, which is still reasonable, I believe. And
Sorry, point of order.
Yeah.
I'm going to request as a point of order that Madam Deputy Clerk read the motion that was passed last at council regarding what happened. Yes. Because I think we're muddying the water of what I'm asking tonight with the decision that was made at that meeting. So just for clarification purposes, are you able to bring that up?
Do you want me to read points 1 to 4 or go refer to the original motion?
The original motion that was passed.
Sorry, I'm just gonna put the screen down to find.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is in our.
Take a 5-minute recess. Yeah.
Right there.
Okay. Sorry. Yeah, I think it's the water is getting a little muddy. So.
I will read the motion for the resolution as done on March 18th for proposed changes to upcoming waste collection contract. So moved by Councillor Casey Owen, seconded by Councillor Lad Shaba, be it resolved that report number 2025-PW-005 entitled proposed changes for upcoming waste collection contract be received. And finally, that council direct administration to issue a request for proposal for the new waste collection contract incorporating the proposed changes to the waste collection as outlined in the report and as amended as follows. Amendment number 1, moved by Councillor Rick Owen, seconded by Councillor Dolly Dykens, that the recommendation be amended to include that commercial waste pickup be reduced to 1 day per week and not on Mondays. Carried. Amendment 2, moved by Councillor Dolly Dykens, seconded by Councillor Rick Owen, that the recommendation be further amended to include that residential waste pickup be changed to every other week. Carried. Amendment number 3, moved by Councillor Casey Owen, seconded by Councillor Janice Ranger, that the recommendation be further amended to allow for that the director solicit in the RFP option 1, weekly pickup costing, and option 2, every other week pickup costing for residential waste. Carried. And amendment number 4, moved by Councillor Rick Owen, seconded by Councillor Patrick Kiley, that the recommendation be amended to include that as part of the RFP, an investigation on costing of overflow garbage for residential waste. So, carried, and then the whole is carried as amended.
Thank you for that.
I forgot where we were at that point. Councillor Dyken, I think you had your hand raised up.
Yeah, I just wanted to reiterate that we had already voted to change the level of service for waste management for, commercial to once a week, not on Mondays, and every other week for residential. And then I know we voted for costing for later, just so that we had information, but I had understood we had passed the level.
Spirit Ranger?
Through you, acting mayor, for clarification on my behalf, Counselor Dykens would not amend her original motion, and that's why there's several amendments. And that we had to create number 3, which was by myself and Counselor Owens to request there be options and not a confirmed only option of every other day or every other week pickup.
Or anything? Oh, she keeps pointing at you, I'm not sure exactly. I don't,
I'm trying to clarify.
yeah, I think it's clear in my head right now, so. Mayor White?
Okay, so I just want to speak to the reason a little bit and maybe the director can further clarify. Because there was such a swift change in service levels, we should be going out to get public engagement. So that is kind of the origin of why this motion came to be, that it is in the best interest of the municipality, that we bring it out into the public realm and have feedback. I hope that clarifies.
I think, and I'll speak on my behalf, it's clear what the motion was, is this, we advise the public, this is what we're planning on doing. Give us your feedback, and then we move on once we get the RFP and make the decision.
So you, to mayor, to the mayor, I think I want to pick up on what she said earlier on about having fulsome information that the public, to the public, when we do go there. So one of them being the costing, so I'm just wondering, you know, are we gonna, is that gonna be part of this by this date, or will be another time? Because, I mean, people can disagree on all kinds of stuff, but at least for presented with factual data about costing, well, that would be there for them to make up their minds. So my question to you is that, I'm in favor of this. I think we should be going to the public on issues, other issues too, and this one in particular. But I want to make sure that the public will get the pros and cons, and at least get the costing part of it, because I mean, we all sit around the table here. People don't want to pay more taxes, but then we're gonna have to save money somewhere, and that might be one rationale, but we have to make that case. But then again, to bring that case home, I think we have to, maybe hopefully the costing will be part of it by for this meeting here. Not too sure if it's possible, but if it's not possible, well, I guess.
You're right.
So with regulations surrounding this type of thing where public consultation is required, that is more unlikely that we will reach that threshold to get an RFP written and out in the public and back before that threshold of public consultation be reached. So that is part of it as well, why we're foregoing getting the RFP first. It's very rare that we present our RFPs to the public before we make decisions as well. That's not our, the way we do things. We don't present RFP information to the public. But the CAO and the director can speak to that more so than I can.
Yeah, for the RFP, I don't think it's gonna be realistic to have the figures before having the public meeting, but my understanding of the public meeting is not necessarily to get the public's input on the dollar value, but more so on the change of service. So I do believe that once we have this public meeting and then we have the RFP results, I'll be able to present it to council. Both for the dollar figures and also take into account the comments that we're gonna get from the public in regards to the change of service. I think we're doing things properly personally.
No, through, acting mayor, no, I agree with the comments of the director.
On that note, if there's not, do we require a rereading of the
No.
original motion, or we get to vote? We get to vote, all in favor? Carried. Opposed?
I'm sorry. Never.
No, she just described it.
Yeah, thank you, Councillor Owen, Acting Mayor Councillor Owens, for taking the chair during that interesting discussion. Moving on. Item number 8, introduction, reading, and consideration of bylaws. As per our amended agenda, items 8.1, 8.2, and 8.3 have been deferred to the next regular council meeting. Item 8.4 is bylaw number 25-23. I will have Director Dan Labrador come up. It has been a while since we've had a deeming bylaw explained to members of the public. We're becoming old hat at it, but if anybody's tuning in tonight, they won't understand what a deeming bylaw is. So I just will have him, after we receive a mover and a seconder, give a brief explanation. Moved by Councillor Owens, seconded by Councillor Owen. Dan, you may proceed.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Mayor, through you to the rest of council. Just a short information on a deeming bylaw. We've had quite a few in the last little while for many different reasons, but as the mayor has asked me to do a little bit of a very short explanation. So for everyone listening or tuning in tonight, a deeming bylaw combines lots to no longer be part of a registered plan of subdivision. This allows 2 or more lots to be merged on title where identical ownership is present. Deeming bylaws are beneficial when the lots are being used to combine to be one property. So in Kirkland Lake, for example, we have a lot of 40 by 100 lots, vacant lot next door. The current owner wishes to extend a yard or to build over into the other vacant property that they own. We then do a deeming bylaw to combine both lots so that they can allow to be utilize that second lot.
Thank you for that. Go ahead, Deputy Clerk, read the motion.
Right, be it resolved that the following bylaw be read, numbered, passed, signed by the mayor and the municipal clerk, and the seal of the corporation be affixed thereto. Bylaw number 25-023, being a bylaw to deem lots 840, 841, 842, 843, and 844 registered plan M137T, not to be registered, 148 Poplar Avenue.
Oh, yeah, question?
Yeah, for clarification, I always thought that if you had your lot and you bought the lot next door in the same name, that it joined as one lot.
Through you, Madam Mayor, that's through MPAC. So MPAC will combine the lots.
Okay.
So in this case here, as I myself presented last council meeting, this is actually 4 separate lots that are all being deemed together so that we can move forward with another planning matter along
Okay.
with it.
So my thinking, it's through impact. Yeah, thank you.
All in favor? Opposed? None noted. Item carried unanimous. Thank you, Director. Item 8.5, bylaw number 25-024, a mover. Councillor Shava, seconded by Councillor Dykens. Madam Deputy Clerk.
Be it resolved that the following bylaw be read, numbered, passed, signed by the mayor and the municipal clerk, and the seal of the corporation be affixed thereto. Bylaw number 25-024, being a bylaw authorizing the execution of an agreement with Bill Clues of Code Consultants, Inc. for contracted building services.
All in favor? Opposed? None noted. Item carried unanimous. Item 8.6, bylaw number 25-025, may I have a mover? Mover, Councillor Owens, seconded by Councillor Owen.
Be it resolved that the following bylaw be read, numbered, passed, signed by the mayor and the municipal clerk, and the seal of the corporation be affixed thereto. Bylaw number 25-025, being a bylaw appointing an interim deputy chief building official and deputy property standards officer.
All in favor? Opposed? None noted. Item carried unanimous. Item number 9, questions from council to staff. There were none submitted prior to council this evening. Item number 10, notices of motion. There are none this evening. Item number 11, councilors report. Do any fellow council members have any events that they attended? Anything to share with community? Councillor Owens?
Thank you, through you, Madam Mayor, to the rest of council and the public. I attended the Northeastern Public Health Board meeting on April 3rd, where the budget was presented to us and we passed it that day. We received the agenda on the Sunday with the mention that the budget was coming with the cost sharing documentation, but no documentation was given. I asked for the documentations and nothing was given to us until the meeting during the presentation. We had the presentation. We were told this is the budget and we are not compliant, we need to pass it. So there was discussion. There was pushback. I opposed to it. It wasn't, it's not how we do it at council. It's not how we've done it in the past. As a Timiskaming Health Unit board member, I've sat on that board for 6 years. There was information that I felt we needed to be given, and other board members shared in that, and we were told we're not compliant. We're 3 days late. We have to pass the budget today. So as other councillors know, when we sit on these boards, we have to do what's in the best interest of that board, while keeping in back of our heads that we are also council members. So kind of torn on that. My main question that I had at that time was like, what is it gonna cost the taxpayers of Kirkland Lake? Because it's a new approach. We're two, and they use the term merged. I think it's more of a takeover at this point, and PHU being the bigger entity is kind of winning out on Timiskaming Health Unit, or as they call it, Legacy Timiskaming Health Unit. So they wouldn't tell us the number per municipality, which has always been the way it's been done at Timiskaming Health Unit. It's always been presented, this is what each 23 member municipality is gonna pay for the upcoming year. And they wouldn't do that. And when I asked this, because it puts the focus on the municipal aspect of board, and we're not a municipal entity, we're there as Board of Health members. Okay. So I had to vote in favor because that's what my duty as a board officer dictates. I have to do what's in the best interest. We're not complying. So the final number for, there's two numbers to consider here. There's two different fees that are going to be charged to municipalities. One for Legacy THU, which is $65.56 per capita, up from $63.04 in 2024. And for Legacy Porcupine Health Unit is going to be $55.87 per capita, up from $50.79 in 2024. So what to do the math sink in, there's a difference in price. We're paying more for the services in Timiskaming Health Unit than we are in Porcupine. And the explanation to that is you couldn't take two organizations, PHU plus THU, and equal a new NEPH budget. It doesn't work that way. According to PHU staff, PHU has been underfunded for many, many years, and they need to catch up to what Timiskaming Health Unit has been charged. And you can't do that in one shot. There's $10 difference per capita. So that would be a sticker shock for them. So they're going up 10% this year. We're going up 4%, which is good. As a former THU or Kirkland Lake councillor, I'm okay with we're paying. Our increase is not as high. I don't like the process. It doesn't, there's no transparency in that. It gave me the impression we're trying to hide something, which being glass half full type of person, I know we're not trying to hide something, or we're not trying to hide something, but it left a sour taste in my mouth, and 2 weeks after, that sour taste is still there when I look at the numbers. So I think it was important as a board member or as a councillor for Kirkland Lake to share that. and to get that information out that I wasn't happy with the process, happy with the figure, just the process wasn't right.
Thank you for that. Anything further from members of council? Councillor Shava, then Councillor Kylie.
Okay, Madam Chair, I have a question for him.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, through you, Madam Chair, yeah, this emerging business is really very, it's one of those things that at first glance, you say, okay, we're gonna save a lot of money, that's why they're doing their operational efficiency and all of this stuff. And we've seen that movie before in this community, just take Northern College and other places. So to the best of your knowledge, what services are gonna be reduced based on this budget? Or are we still gonna hold on to the level of services that we have with our old health unit? Or not? I don't know if you can
Yeah.
tell us about that, because that's what's important to the regular people. Here, we wanna get our services maintained, be it whatever it is that we're getting, and I know before the merger, people don't get a lot of things that we used to get, especially if you're traveling, you don't get it anymore. You gotta go somewhere else to get it and all that stuff, so question is, are we gonna see reduction in services based on this initial budget? Thank
Through
you.
you, Madam Mayor, to Councillor Shava. So the initial intent of the merger is not to reduce staff, to reduce services. There's no reduction in service. Services will be maintained as they were maintained in 2024 or offered in 2024 through former or legacy THU. The merger itself was to access fundings to find efficiencies. Better operation, because there's certain services that THU we simply could not offer because of our size. We were the smallest health unit in the province, and it was becoming increasingly difficult to recruit staff, to retain staff within the organization to be able to offer the same level of service. So by merging, combining both, and I'm using the term combined because that's how it was presented to us back last term. Councillor Kylie was still on. It was a combination both organization into one bigger one to be able to offer best services. Just one note for the funding. So the merger doesn't pay for the operation, the daily operations, and the one thing in the budget, it's one of my slides. There will be regular municipal increases to the budget moving forward. So we need to expect next year the same thing. There will be an increase the year after, there will be an increase. The merger funding is only good till 2027, March 2027.
Thank you for that. Councillor Kylie.
Yeah, through you, your worship. Councillor Owen, if I can ask you. They would not release the other information as to what each community is paying. That is weird. I don't understand why they wouldn't.
Through you, Madam Mayor, to Councillor Kylie, I objected to it. My exact words is I've been on the THU board for 6 years. I've had to endorse and even though I don't believe in everything public health related, like I put my personal feelings aside, I have to do what's best for the community and the board. This one I had issues with. That was a bigger pill to swallow because we didn't have it. 65.56 per capita doesn't, I could do the math quickly. And obviously they knew the question was coming because they were able, board members were able to, or the finance committee was able to respond, well, it's a $2 and whatever cents increase. And so they knew, they had an idea, but they just would not tell us.
Councillor Owen and then Councillor Ranger.
Thank you. Yeah, through you, your worship, to me, that seems like public information. As opposed to privileged information. I'm wondering if we cannot put in a freedom of information request. Or report this to the ombudsman's office, or do something. Because every community should know exactly what they're paying into that. We're responsible for our ratepayers, and I'm in agreement with Councillor Holmes. We should have that information. You can get that information from DSEP. So what's the difference? you know, that's public information. And there has to be some way that as a council, we can go after them and say, we want that information. If you want your money, we want the information to see that all communities in our district are paying their share, or what the formula was to use to come up with it. I mean,
So I'm just gonna caution council, I think, we're getting a little into the weeds on this report, with questions that cannot be answered at this table specifically. I am well aware that our treasurer gets information from, NEPH on this, and I'm sure he'll be, able to give us a better, more fulsome answer to these questions. So I think it's in the best interest of this council to move on from, this report at this time. Councilor Ranger.
Thank you, through you, Madam Mayor. I want to thank Councillor Owens for his report and sharing the information. I know it can be challenging and difficult because you are not a councillor on that committee or on that board, and I think the public isn't quite aware of what our roles are on these. As a Kirkland Lake Council and a payee for these services, perhaps we should look at, or I will look to put forward a motion that a letter be sent to the new board requesting more specific information and leaving Councillor Owens to sit as a board member and for us to request our funding. My other concern is the lack of preparedness given to board members on this board to fully be able to digest the information. And I will say publicly that questions to me the actions of the managers on the new for the new public health system. So that is something that as council will have to look at for future board meeting, future council meeting.
Thank you for that. If you choose to bring forth a notice of motion, you can do so at any time.
Yeah,
So,
thank you.
yeah, thank you. Any further reports from members of council? Councillor Owen?
yeah, through you, your worship, this past week I took part along with the mayor in a school tour of grade 3 from Central Public School. And in the nature of transparency and full disclosure, my 3-year-old grandson Noah was in that class. And he got to play Councillor Owen for a question to the mayor. I don't think we have to worry about him being on council because he told me afterwards that he was feeling shy. So I just want to thank the mayor for allowing me to go on that tour. It was special for my child, and it was also special for the children in the group. What was really nice was the teacher explained to the mayor how touring the town hall fits in with their curriculum. So it's not just a day out of the classroom, which I used to love. It's a day out of the classroom learning about what they need to learn in their classroom. So once again, thank you, your worship, for allowing me to take part.
Thank you. Councillor Dykens?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. On Thursday night, along with the mayor and the director of Development and Enterprise Services, sorry, I always have to look, we'll be attending the gala for the Chamber of Commerce, where we'll be celebrating the local businesses. So I'm excited about that.
Thank you for that. For my part, the town of Kirkland Lake was notified on April 9th that it had been granted strong mayor powers. I spent the rest of the day reviewing relevant documentation on the Government of Ontario website, speaking about this matter with not only our staff, but individuals from the Ministry of Municipal Affairs and Housing and our Municipal Service Office in Sudbury, and also the members of the Northern Ontario Women's Association. Though these powers are presented as another tool in the toolbox, I personally have always felt these powers bestowed on mayors do not address the needs of our municipality to build more homes or fix our infrastructure. It's financial constraints that are the roadblocks not bureaucracy. As per the AMCTO correspondent stated that same day, their research indicates that strong mayor powers often have blurred the political administrative authority between the roles of head of council and CAO. I personally have no intentions of using these powers arbitrarily and will opt to delegate as much of those powers back to the CAO and to the whole of council as permitted by those regulations. For the rest of those powers, I will continue to work as a team member with my fellow members of council, the CAO, clerk, and director level staff to ensure if we, as a group, feel the need to utilize this tool, it will be done so responsibly and only with the best interest of the municipality at heart as a team. We will be receiving a report to council on this matter shortly, and I work with the CAO to ensure my intentions are fully expressed in the recommendations of that report. Now, on to better news. It is my honor to share the story of Ms. Jose Merrick, who recently delivered 80 pounds of school and teaching supplies in Panama as a tribute to her friend and retired teacher, Katrina Kneebone, whom she met in Panama last February. Not only had Ms. Merrick and her husband, Mr. Paul Benendike, purchased supplies themselves, but they also reached out to teachers at Federal Public School who donated additional materials. Lastly, a call to the Kirkland Lake community went out via Facebook, which brought additional funds and donated items. When I see stories like this, I'm constantly reminded of the generosity of our community and how inspirational Kirkland Lakers like Ms. Merrick and her whole team that collaborated on this are. So congratulations to her, her husband, and all the community members who made that action possible. May 13th will be the 2025 Provincial Day of Action on Litter. And though the municipality will be declaring it as such at a future council meeting, I would like to acknowledge this was brought to my attention through a community member, Alata Clarkson, who is a strong advocate for community pride and litter reduction within our community. Lastly, I do want to say a little something about the tax levy and what we are asking of the people this year. It is always difficult to ask our community members to give more. As a taxpayer myself, I would rather we never had to ask for more. But that isn't the reality for a community who wants to get things done, to take care of the assets we currently own, and most importantly, to build capacity for development in the future. We know development is coming. We see it in projects like the modular home building facility on Archer Drive by Keeper of the Circles and their partners. We know people are coming by the level of diversity of our community members. I, along with members of this council, will never ask this community for blind faith, but I do ask for grace while projects that are waiting for announcements to be made come to fruition. We are building towards something for Kirkland Lake, and I wouldn't say that unless I truly believed it. So thank you. May I have a mover? Councillor Ranger, seconded by Councillor Kylie.
Be it resolved that the verbal updates from members of council be received.
All in favor? Opposed? None noted. Item carried unanimous. Item number 12, additional information. We have several proclamations this evening. So item number 12.1 is Community Living Month, moved by Councillor Shaba, seconded by Councillor Ranger. Whereas Community Living Ontario represents more than 12,000 people, including people who have intellectual disability, their families, and concerned citizens through a federation of 117 local associations across Ontario. And whereas Community Living Ontario promotes values and community development, contributes to social policy, advocates while providing crucial services to people with disabilities and their families. And whereas raising awareness of inclusion and public acceptance for the support of these services has started with and been championed by Community Living Kirkland Lake for 78 years. And whereas Community Living Kirkland Lake provides residential, community, and support services for over 80 people and employs over 75 members of our community. And whereas the quality of these services depends largely on the dedication of trained workers who provide these services while working towards community inclusion for the people they support. And whereas the availability of these services helps improve the quality of life for everyone while making our communities stronger and more stable. And whereas greater recognition and understanding of the crucial role that community living plays in our community is needed to ensure the continued availability and improvement of these services. Now therefore, I, Stacy White, Mayor of the Town of Kirkland Lake, do hereby proclaim the month of May 2025 as Community Living Month in the Town of Kirkland Lake. All in favor? Oh,
Be it resolved that
Thanks.
council sanction the proclamation for Community Living Month, May 2025 in the town of Kirkland Lake.
all in favor? Opposed, none noted. Item carried unanimous. Item number 12.2, proclamation, World Hand Hygiene Day. And I am pleased to share with community members that may not be able to see. We do have members of our TPR staff with us tonight. Ladies, if you want to give a wave, you will be picked up, hopefully. I don't see it, but definitely I wanted to acknowledge that you did come out. So thank you for that. Moved by Counselor Ranger, seconded by Counselor Owens. You can read it and then I will.
Be it resolved that council sanction the proclamation for World Hand Hygiene Day, May 5th, 2025 in the town of Kirkland Lake.
Thank you. Whereas hand hygiene is a simple yet effective way to prevent infections and save lives. Proper hand hygiene practices can significantly reduce the spread of diseases, including respiratory and gastrointestinal infections. And whereas healthcare workers, patients, and the public all play a crucial role in maintaining hand hygiene to protect themselves and others. And whereas the World Health Organization has designated May 5th as World Hand Hygiene Day to raise awareness and promote the importance of hand hygiene globally. And whereas the unnecessary use of gloves, particularly in healthcare settings, has significant environmental impacts. And here are some key points. Increased waste. The overuse of gloves leads to substantial increase in medical waste. The waste often ends up in landfills or incinerators, contributing to environmental pollution. Resource consumption. The production of gloves requires significant amounts of raw materials, such as latex or synthetics alternatives, as well as water and energy. This increases the demand for natural resources and contributes to environmental degradation. Carbon footprint. The manufacturing, transportation, and disposal of gloves contribute to greenhouse gas emissions. Reducing unnecessary glove use can help lower the carbon footprint associated with these processes. Cross-contamination risks. Overuse of gloves can lead to cross-contamination if not used properly, which can have an indirect environmental impact by increasing the spread of infections and the need for additional medical interventions. Efforts to reduce unnecessary glove use, such as educating healthcare workers on appropriate glove use, can help mitigate these environmental impacts while maintaining patient safety. Now, therefore, I, Stacy White, Mayor of the Town of Kirkland Lake, do hereby proclaim May 5th, 2025 as World Health Hygiene Day. No, World Hand Hygiene Day in the Town of Kirkland Lake. All in favor? Opposed? None noted. Item carried unanimous. Thank you. Item number 12.3, proclamation, Mental Health Week, May 5th to the 11th, moved by Councillor Dyken, seconded by Councillor Owen.
Be it resolved that council sanction the proclamation for Mental Health Week, May 5th to 11th, 2025 in the town of Kirkland Lake.
Whereas all people have an equal right to the highest attainable standard of mental well-being, which is inseparable from the right to social protection, an adequate standard of living, and freedom from discrimination. And whereas 1 in 5 Canadians experience mental illness or mental health issue in any given year, but 5 in 5 of us have mental health. And whereas government, Indigenous leadership, health authorities, businesses, and community organizations have shared opportunity to improve the lives and health of people living in Ontario by providing basic supports that lay the foundation for mental health well-being and delivering the services that enable recovery and provide the opportunity for all people to thrive. And whereas the Northeast Mental Health Committee calls for the public to become informed about mental health and to focus collective efforts on the protective factors that enable people to achieve their higher standard of mental well-being. These include initiatives that range from poverty reductions, stable and affordable housing, attainable education, to wraparound healthcare services. And whereas Mental Health Week provides a unique opportunity to affirm our shared commitment to building public awareness of the importance of mental well-being. And whereas the Northeast Mental Health Week Committee has collaborated among its members to host many activities and initiatives this year in communities across the districts of Cochrane and Temiskaming to help raise awareness and educate the public on the importance of social connection and bolstering mental well-being. Now therefore, I, Stacy White, Mayor of the Town of Kirkland Lake, do hereby proclaim May 5th to the 11th, 2025 as Mental Health Week in the Town of Kirkland Lake. All in favor? Opposed? None noted. Item also carried. Unanimous. We will now be in recess for 10 minutes. Okay, folks. We'll now reconvene to move into closed session. Mayor Mover. Councillor Ranger, seconded by Councillor Owen.
Be it resolved that council adjourn in camera pursuant to section 239(2) of the Municipal Act 2001 as amended at 6:26 p.m. to discuss personal matters about an identifiable individual, including municipal and local board employees, litigation or potential litigation, including matters before administrative tribunals affecting the municipality or local boards, advice that is subject to solicitor-client privilege, including communications necessary for that purpose, a position plan, procedure, criteria, or instruction to be applied to any negotiations carried on or to be carried on by or on behalf of the municipality or local board for the following reasons. Items 13.1, insurance and legal update. Item 13.2, proposed memorandum of understanding with the Kirkland Lake Public Library.
All in favor? Opposed? None noted. Item carried unanimous. Yep. We'll now rise from in camera. May I have a mover? Councillor Dykens, seconded by Councillor Kylie.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Moved by Councillor Dyken, seconded by Councillor Patrick Kiley. Be it resolved that council reconvene in open session at 7:06 p.m.
All in favor? Opposed? None noted. Item carried unanimous. Any matters of pecuniary interest rising from in camera? There are none, but as I noted in camera, I do want to reiterate that I did check in with the ICE Integrity Commissioner for the Town of Kirkland Lake regarding the fact that I sit as board chair. I am council representative appointed by this council on that board, and there is no conflict of interest according to our IC, and I did forward that to the CAO and the deputy clerk. So item number 14, matters from closed session. 14.1, proposed memorandum of understanding with Tech Centennial Public Library Board. Okay, it's never that. But Kirkland Lake Public Library Board is also a different name for the Tech Centennial Library Board. So either or, I guess. May I have a mover? No, sorry, I'm not voting. Councillor Ranger and seconded by Councillor Dykens. At this time of night, I'm on autopilot apparently.
Be it resolved that report number 2025-CAO-006 entitled Proposed Memorandum of Understanding with the Kirkland Lake Public Library Board be received, and that Mayor and Municipal Clerk be authorized to execute the memorandum of understanding as amended with the Kirkland Lake Public Library Board, the terms of which to meet the satisfaction of the Chief Administrative Officer and Director of Community Services. And finally, that an execution bylaw be brought forward for three readings at an upcoming meeting.
All in favor? Opposed? None noted. Item carried unanimous. Item number 15, confirmation bylaw. Item 15.1, bylaw number 25-026, moved by Councillor Owens and seconded by Councillor Owen.
Be it resolved that the following bylaw be read, numbered, passed, signed by the mayor and municipal clerk, and the seal of the corporation be affixed thereto. Bylaw number 25-026 being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of council at its meeting held Tuesday, April 15th, 2025.
All in favor? Opposed? None noted. Item carries unanimous. Item number 16, adjournment. Moved by Counselor Dykens. Thank you, everyone. Good evening.